Alrighty, so let's take a look at some examples. So we need to take a look at these and try to identify which way it opens, the vertex, the focus, and the directrix. Alright, and the distance across the parabola at the focus. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm trying to get this into vertex form because that makes it a little bit easier to identify what kind of things I'm dealing with. So I want to have the terms with my squared in it on one side, so either my x's need to be on one side or my y's need to be on one side. The nice thing about parabolas is that it's going to be very obvious which one should be on which side. So on this one I've got x's squared, and then I've got a singular x term, so I need to push everything else to the other side to try to complete the square. So I'm going to have y minus 323 is equal to that 4x squared plus 72x. Alright, remember that we don't want a 4 out in front of our x squared. We want a singular 1, plain old 1, not even a negative 1. So I need to divide that off. So I'm going to have y minus 323 is equal to 4 times the quantity of what's left, which in this case is just going to be x squared plus 18x. Alright, and then leaving the gap. Now I just want to complete the square. So I've got y minus 323 is equal to 4 times the quantity of, should have left the space on that side too, 4 times the quantity of x squared plus 18x, slice and square, so I should get 81. I want to add 81, but since there's that 4 on the outside, when I multiply 81 times 4, I should just get positive 324. So simplifying this, I should get y plus 1 is equal to 4 times the quantity of x, now plus 9, quantity squared. Alright, and then putting this finally back in vertex form, I've got y is equal to 4 times quantity of x plus 9, quantity squared, minus 1. Alright, so that does look like our vertex form, which was always y is equal to a times x minus h, quantity squared, plus k, but remember we're going to be taking a look at that a and changing that to 1 over 4c. Alright, so my vertex is always h comma k, and my signs change, which means I plugged in negative numbers in for my h and my k from my formula down to my actual numbers that I have. Alright, so I've got negative 9 comma negative 1. Because my x coordinate, as long as it's on the inside of the parentheses, is always with my x. And my y coordinate, as long as my y is on the equal to side, my y coordinate should be sitting right outside those parentheses in that case. My focus, okay, well, we gotta do a little bit of work then. So my a, like I said, is gonna be 1 over 4c now, and I probably need to use that at this point. So I know that my a term right now is that 4 sitting right there. So I've really just got 4 is equal to 1 over 4c. Okay, well, I can put that 4 over 1, and then I've got a fraction equaling a fraction, which is called a proportion, and this is the only time that I can use that butterfly method that works, or cross multiplication as you guys like to call it, which is just going to give me 16c is equal to 1, otherwise known as c is equal to 1/16. Alright, so that's going to be helpful here in a second. Alright, so before I probably find the focus and the directrix, yes, I found the hard part, which is c. I probably need to state which way my parabola opens, because that way I know where my focus goes and where my directrix goes, because again, my focus should go inside of the parabola, and my directrix should go on the outside. Alright, so looking at this, I see that my A is positive and I've got a Y equals, which means that it's either going to open up or down. Since that A term is positive, that means that it is going to open up, which is nice. Alright. Alright, since my parabola opens up, that means that I'm going to use C, and I'm going to move C units from the vertex in the direction of the opening, and we're going to mark the focus, or we're going to at least label the focus in this particular case. So moving towards the opening would actually be moving towards the x-axis. So in this case, I'm going to be going 1/16 closer to the x-axis, so my focus is actually going to be -9, comma, -15/16. Alright, and then my directrix is almost the same thing, except now I'm going to go from the vertex in the opposite direction of the opening and draw the directrix. Oops, didn't mean to move that, but you know, it happens sometimes. Alright, so my directrix is going to be the opposite way, so since it opens up, I'm going to go C units down in this particular case, which is still going to be on my Y value. So I've got -9, comma, -1 and 1/16. Oops, I don't want to make my fraction part like that. And then finally, my distance across the parabola at the focus. Well, remember my distance across the parabola at the focus is just 4C, and if C is 1/16, then that means my distance across the parabola at the focus should just be 1/4. Alright, not so bad. And with that, I'm done. Alright, the next one I've got is number 2. So I've still got a Y equals, which is kind of nice. That's something like we're familiar with. Again, the first thing I'm going to do is get this into vertex form. So I'm going to have Y minus 4 is equal to -2 x squared minus 4x, and then I again still want a 1 out in front of my term that's squared, so I'm going to get y minus 4 is equal to -2 times whatever is left, which is just going to be x squared plus 2x. Slice and square. I want to add 1, but I'm actually adding -2. Oops. I can just put that -2 there. Alright, and then finally I'm just going to have y minus 6 is equal to -2 times the quantity of now x plus 1 quantity squared. And then getting this into vertex form, I should either have an x equals or a y equals. So I've got y is equal to -2 times the quantity of x plus 1 quantity squared plus 6. Alright. Alright, so right now I see that my a is negative, which is what we're kind of used to. We should know that if a is negative, my parabola is going to be opening down. Alright, and then for the rest of this stuff, all we need is this little thing called C. So again, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to set my A term, which is -2 in this case, equal to 1/4C. And then I'm just going to solve. I'm going to put that over 1, I'm going to cross multiply, and I'm going to rock and roll with my life. So I should just get -8C is equal to 1, so therefore C is equal to -1/8. Alright, so my vertex, just looking at this, I can pull out, and I've got my x coordinate and with my x, and I see that my sign has changed from my formula into this, which should just give me -1,6. Alright. Since it opens down, my focus is going to go in the same direction. So I'm going to be moving. Alright, so then I'm like, okay, well, I've got to go -1/8 down. How does that make sense? Well, remember, distance can't be negative. So if I want to go 1/8 down, I'm really just going to say, okay, I'm going to change my y coordinates and I'm going to go down 1/8, which would be 5 7/8. Alright, my directrix is going to go back the other way. Since it's opening down, I need to go up from the vertex. So I'm still going to have that -1 there because it's a y equals. It's going to affect my y values. So going up, I should just get 6 1/8. Oops, that is an 8. Alright, and then finally my distance across the parabola at the focus should just be 4c, and we figured out c is 1/8. So I've got 4 times 1/8. And all in all, I should get just 1/2. Because again, it stands for distance. Again, distance cannot be negative, which is why I plugged in a positive 1/8.